First, congratulations to the Green Bay Packers on a victorious performance. From us, we just simply got to get a lot better in a lot of areas, in all areas, but some really specific areas that are critical to winning. We can't settle for field goals versus good people, and that was kind of an issue throughout. We got behind the chains some once we got in the scoring territory, be it a penalty or a lost yardage play on first down, and it was uphill from there, and we settled for field goals too often. And you're just not going to win close ball games, man, when you're doing that. Thought we were highly penalized for the second week in a row. It hadn't been us, but it is us, and so we certainly got to address that, and we will. And then we're not winning enough possession downs on defense. We're simply not. I thought the 2 third-down conversions in the third quarter, field-flipping type plays, were significant plays. They were catalysts for drive engineering, the 2 touchdown drives or whatever in the third quarter. I thought we had them in, advantageous third down circumstances for us, man, and they converted. Not only did they convert, but they had chunk plays, and you're not going to win football games like that. And so we got a big game coming up here in a short period of time. We got to get in and look at this, man, and make the necessary adjustments and alterations to what it is that we're doing in the effort to change the outcome of this thing. From a health standpoint, man, it looks like we got a couple of significant ones. Daniel, he's got a significant knee injury. Deshaun Elliott's got a knee injury as well. Isaac Seumalo's got a pec strain, and so it's what comes with playing. Obviously, we'll assess those. I have a better update for you the next time we come together. Questions?
Where was Love hurting you in the second half?
I thought their tight end obviously was significant, man. His run after, we talked about it during the week. We didn't do a good enough job of minimizing that, and that probably was the catalyst of it. That field flipping play on third down, we laid the ball up to him. He made a catch and run. I thought was a significant component of the texture of the second half.
Like yourselves on offense, where could you have been better on the third downs tonight?
I thought we got behind the chains, and when you get behind the chains, man, you're not in an advantageous circumstance. There's a challenge with their rush and some of the rush people that they have. You got to protect it. You got to go downfield, and that was challenging. The best course of action is to stay on schedule, and we weren't on schedule enough, particularly in the second half.
Mike, the defensive problems that you've had repeatedly, is it rooted in the scheme or in the execution of the scheme?
We all have to own it. Certainly you start with the schematics, man, because, that's the leadership component of it. And certainly we'll be looking at everything that we're doing, man, because some of these problems are somewhat repetitive and we're not getting better fast enough.
Mike, what's missing in the execution?
Again, I'm not going to talk too much tonight. We'll take a look at it. As I mentioned, they made some significant plays on possession down ball. And, you got to get off on third down, and we didn't do it well enough, and particularly in the third quarter, there were some significant ones.
So like the second week in a row, you gave up a bunch of easy completions. It was the slants against Cincinnati, so it was more the flats. Tonight, is that a case of you try to fix something and then something else pops up against you?
I'm not worried about the flat throws. The flat throws didn't produce 300-plus yards passing. It's those chunk plays.
Mike, you guys assembled this secondary with the hopes to use several different coverages, man, zone, different things, but between miscommunications and losing the man, what do you guys have to do better to get the potential that you saw?
We just got to be better in all areas, and it starts first with the positions that we put players in. And so, as coaches, as players, as all of us, we own it. We'll be better. We have to be.
You guys came out and were winning third down a lot early on in this game, and then things flipped. What do you think led to the collective breakdown there?
As I mentioned, those third downs in the third quarter that I outlined in my opening statement. I could repeat it for you if you want.
I just got it.
Anyone else?
Mike, did you get an explanation on the offsides call that wasn't called?
It's irrelevant because you can't get it back. I thought it was an error, but you can't get it back. Explanations mean very little.
Mike, do you consider change in the secondary at all?
I'm open to doing whatever it is that we need to do schematically or from a personnel standpoint to improve this, certainly.
What's your reaction to 2 post-play personal fouls in the second half?
It's not our style of business, and we can't live like that.
Mike, what do you guys have to do to get the pass rush home more often in key games?
I'll take a look at it. I just don't have a knee-jerk response to that question specifically because very rarely do these things happen in a vacuum. It's all somewhat interrelated.
Coach, you're averaging almost 5 yards a carry in the first half, had that 9-point lead with getting the ball. What was the decision kind of lean away from the run with only 3 carries in the second half?
It wasn't necessarily a decision to do so. We just were behind the sticks and the game circumstances got away from us.
Is there anything Green Bay did differently first half versus the second half?
With respect to them, man, they won the game, but our issues are us. That's just the approach and mentality that we have. We own the outcome of our performances, and there's certainly a lot of things that we could do better, not taking anything away from Green Bay.
When you give up 100 and some yards of yak to a tight end, is that indicative of issues rallying to the ball, tackling downfield, things like that?
It would appear so, but as we mentioned at the top of the week, man, I thought this guy was an elite run after guy. I told you guys that on Tuesday, and he proved that.
What was your message to the team in the locker room after the loss?
I said, man, it's not a lot to talk about. We got to get better, and we got to get better in a hurry. And so we say very little when we win. We say less when we lose. It's all about getting back in the lab and getting better.